Water, earth, fire, and air. Elemental abilities have always been popular in the world of fantasy, but hit a whole new level of admiration with the masterpiece of Avatar: The Last Airbender and its sequel, The Legend of Korra. The simplicity of the power system worked so well in its favor at garnering such a large fandom, and uniquely showed just how creatively these abilities could be used. Each element had their many subsections: vapor, ice, and blood for waterbending, metal and magma for earth, combustion and lightning for fire, and for air, flight, and vacuuming out your soul. That was for Bosco, bitch. But as Avatar is a fantastic martial arts show and just got another live action reboot and I'm seeing the gains of Zaddy Ozai, I've always loved the physical aspect of the characters in their fights. They're not just blasting each other with elements, they are actually utilizing real martial arts fighting skills, and most of the characters are in pretty damn good shape. But also you see certain characters strain when using their abilities, like when Earthbenders move heavy slabs of rock, or when Waterbenders move just basically rivers of liquid. And so your friendly neighborhood JaxBlade got to thinking that bending must be a pretty damn good workout for these characters. Now of course it must be brought up that factors like chi, genetics, teachers, environment, and skill play into how strong a bender can be. And we also know the characters physically train to get stronger bodies, since we saw Iroh go through his whole one-man army calisthenic arc. And if you want to learn more about that, check out my videos here. But I've always wondered how each of their personal bending types would realistically help their physical development and body types in general, and so today we're going to talk about just that, starting with majority of the waterbenders we see in the show are usually completely covered where we can't see what type of builds they have. But then we got Korra, who may be the Avatar, but damn waifu royalty right there. Waterbending is based on Tai Chi, and Tai Chi is phenomenal exercise for helping a myriad of things such as balance, strength, mindfulness, conditioning, coordination, muscular endurance, flexibility, breath control, visualization, and much, much more. When waterbenders fight, they utilize it as a whip, heavy ice strike, flying daggers, or just completely overwhelm you. Get my girl one of these. Honestly, I'm kinda jelly. But the cool thing about water is, if you've ever utilized it for more than just hydration, you realize just how heavy it can be. Water can be a substitute for traditional weight training if you have the equipment to carry it. Also, if you have the finances, there is specialized equipment that can actually help you where you work out in a pool and use the water as resistance. Fighters like GSP found this out and utilized it in their routines for great effect.
I train in a pool. I don't lift weight. For example, I have resistance stuff, equipment, and I train in the pool. So it's like my weight training I do in a pool.
Wow.
For example, you do flies. So you have protagonist, antagonist muscle that works all the time. And it's like doing flies, but instead of that, you have protagonist and antagonist. You do a fly and a pull in the same time. Push, pull. And it's like a handle. It's a new thing. The Russian developed this like in the 80s, a long time ago, where we just start to learn now about it. And the Russians were way more advanced than us. And it's Gavin Macmillan that made me discover this form of training when I rehab my ACL.
I even tried this out myself when I was recovering from my elbow injury, and I was doing it at the gym's pool, and I was surprised at just how much it worked me out. With their diet, environment, and skill set, I'd say it makes sense a good chunk of waterbenders will be built with smaller but strong frames, sort of like what I talked about in this video. Some could be ripped, but I don't think all of them would be, since it's primarily about fluidity and flexibility. But now, moving on. Now, if I was a bender, I'm pretty sure I'd be an earthbender, because these are the most trained, baby, of the benders, you know what I mean? Majority of advanced earthbenders we see are strong and muscular, which makes sense because they are literally lifting heavy rocks consistently. Even Toph, as a child who was known as the strongest earthbender, gives me the vibes that her muscles were like that of a kid who has myostatin-related muscular hypertrophy, which I talk about here. And also an issue I have with Korra is when we see adult Toph in her prime, we never get to see her out of her armor. And you know adult Toph got those waifu muscles. I do not care. We saw her training with Aang. We saw her daughter Lin. We saw okay, I'm not buying that our girl does not have some things going on. Brian and Mike, I'm talking to y'all right now, okay? Give adult Toph some of them core gains in that new movie y'all got coming out. I know y'all can do it, all right? Y'all know that is her character. She is some waifu girl. You know that right now, all right? Love y'all work. For those of y'all who agree with me, type show Toph gains down below, alright? Because we all know our girl has some muscles, alright? We all know it. Earthbending is based on the Hung Gar style of Kung Fu, which is based on rooting yourself to the ground and the movements of animals, moving with hard power like a tiger or soft power like a crane. When Earthbenders fight, they use their bending to launch heavy rocks, stand firm without budging, encapsulate, and throw metal like a shuriken that clamp down on you. In our world, we have strongman training, which is basically moving heavy, awkward shaped objects from A to B, such as giant stones or weights, and also holding those heavy objects for long periods of time. This is phenomenal at building raw strength and muscle, and makes sense why so many Earthbenders are so jacked, or at least have some muscle tone. Again, Toph's family is a family of sleeper builds, and earthbending death goes hard. Let's be real, with the builds we see in this nation, they must have one fire-ass gym. Ozai in both the animated series and live-action show is very muscular and chiseled. Azula can hold planches and has superb control over her body. For Zuko, we actually see some progression in the body. As season 1 he was pretty built, season 2 he was starved and shrank, and then season 3 he built up his ripped body again. And of course, the true king of inspirational masculinity, Iroh, we saw rebuild his body with his calisthenics routine, and again, check out my in-depth videos here on that if you want to learn more about it. Forget standing this, we need more of this healthy, heroic masculinity. Since firebenders are soldiers, it makes sense that they'd have a lot of conditioning to go along with their explosive power. Firebending is based on Northern Shaolin Kung Fu, very powerful and focused on the breath control to fully empower their attacks, which is fitting because when I think of firebending, I also think of very explosive fighters. The way firebenders attack is by using their aggressive flame blasts, and the more advanced ones can pull a palpy on ya. They remind me of people who would utilize plyometric burst type movements such as explosive push-ups, explosive jumps, shadow boxing, punching a heavy bag, sprinting, prowler rowing, or that power blast equipment you'd find in the NFL. Also, with how fast and how hard they strike, along with the temperature of their flames constantly surrounding them, firebending would probably be the most physically taxing, making them sweat profusely, sort of like working out in a hot sauna. So it would make sense in their environment that they develop these more fast twitch muscle fibers, which gives them more ripped, strong bodies for fighting.
That's hot.
Another thing in Legend of Korra I really liked was how they switched their fighting style from more of a traditional martial arts style to more of an MMA boxing type style, which I think worked more effectively with the firebending and the earthbending at a degree, just because it's so aggressive with how you're able to throw combos and go, I'm left, I'm right, I'm left, I'm right, you know, with it. And I just thought that was just a cool little tidbit of like the improvements we see along the way. But moving on. Ali's quote perfectly matches the Airbenders with what we've seen them accomplish. Airbenders are all about being light on their feet, being fast, agile, energetic, hard to hit, and having perfect breath control. The martial art airbending was based on was Bagua, a kung fu discipline that is based on defense and constantly moving around so that they cannot be touched easily. Airbenders typically fight in a more defensive way than offensive, blasting opponents with gusts of wind and consistently dodging oncoming attacks. Because they have such great body control and are able to move with such agility, Airbenders make me think of parkour athletes who constantly move around with agility and fluidity. As long as you don't get live leak silly with it, parkour is actually a phenomenal exercise that can do a lot for you. It helps strengthen your muscles and bones, boost your cardiovascular and muscular conditioning, helps you develop quick reflexes, boost your mental state, helps you overcome obstacles, and actually helps with military training since it keeps you fit and healthy, but also incredibly functional and improve your overall stamina. And it's all about the body weight movements for full control and cardiovascular ones since they are all about getting more oxygen into their systems. Because they are meant to be light on their feet, it makes sense why their movements and vegetarian diet keeps them slim and trim, and why excess weight or bulk would be unwanted. Funny enough, you can see this in book 3 to 4 of Legend of Korra with Boomy. He was more hefty in book 3, and then after the time skip of doing all the airbending training, he's trimmed down a bit. So each style has its pros and cons, but tell me down in the comment section, what type of bender would you like to be? And no saying Avatar, that's immediately disqualified because everyone and their mama would be like, yeah, that's just like a given right there. But like, tell me, if you could choose which bending style, which one do you think would fit you personally? And if you made it this far in the video, be sure to hit that bell icon and subscribe, and be sure to hit that like button or dislike button if you didn't care for the video. Either way, it helps my stuff. And also type waifu Toph down below or show Toph gains, whatever you want to prefer, because yeah, our girl has some gains. We all know it. I know it. Brian, Mike, you know it. And if you like my videos, be sure to check out my playlist. I got tons of stuff on very similar content as well. I do that all the time here. It's like it's one of my specialties. But I also want to say this right now. Next week on February 29th at 7 p.m. Eastern, I'll be premiering my video essay that I've been working on for the last few months. People who don't know, I've been working on a Spider-Verse video essay talking about characters of Miles and Gwen and all this other stuff. And I worked hard on it. It should be really fun just to do. Like, I don't usually do it, but you know, I figured I'd release it this month because it is like Black History Month, but also Month of Love and stuff like that. So like I rarely do video essays, but I always have a fun time like when I finally do them, because like usually I'm just like the fitness guy. So if you're interested, you know, love to see you there. If not, all good. Regardless, again, like I got tons of extra stuff here for y'all. I hope this video was not only fun but informative to y'all, and that y'all can go and experiment if you like saw a training routine that you're like, oh, I might actually try to implement that. So, you know, fitness doesn't have to be a monotonous thing of just, you know, standard going to the weights and lifting and stuff like that. There's so many varieties of ways to improve yourself, and that's what I want y'all to do. Go out, explore, go live the best life you can. I know you can do it. And remember, like I always say, keep calm, booyah on, and don't forget, momentai, and most importantly, be the person Iroh knows you can be. That is the thing right there. I know you can do it. I have absolute faith in you as well. All right? You got this. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Talk to y'all later. Hey, what's up, y'all? So I just finished watching the Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix, and so here are my fresh thoughts on it. Because I've noticed like just a lot of hyperbolic takes of just like, oh, this is the worst piece of garbage I've ever seen, and then this is like, oh, this is the best thing ever and stuff like that. As someone who went into it with an open mind, I feel like it's just okay. Like it's much better, colossally better than that freaking 2010 film. And like, but you know, that's a low bar to like, you know, be better than, but again, like good on them for at least trying to. But on the scale of like, you know, live action remakes that I think are like good or something like that, or live action interpretations, I feel that like it's not anywhere near like live action One Piece Netflix, which I loved. And then it's much better than the Cowboy Bebop. It's much better than the Yu Yu Hakusho, because Yu Yu Hakusho lost their damn mind in those last few episodes. Overall, I feel like there's some little things that like made me side eye, but I feel if they have like some fine tuning, they can definitely fix it going forward, stuff like that. Because overall, when I left it, there were some parts I was like, that's kind of dull. I was like, oh, that's interesting. One thing I really did enjoy was how the Firebenders were actually really aggressive, and you got to see them like actually slaughter people, and I was like, oh fuck, like that's a really like crazy and stuff like that. But you know, there are some things where I was like, oh, I wish Aang would have acted like this here. And Katara, you're kind of making me feel like, oh, you're not as motherly or like that how you were in the, you know, animated series. But yeah, overall, I liked all the cast. I would say like majority of the cast. I really loved Uncle Iroh's actor. I think he was phenomenal as well. And yeah, I don't really have to Ozai, like, did good. Azula, I know some people have been clowning on it. I was like, oh, it was an interesting take, but like again, I don't have a strong opinion either way. Like I would just say, like if someone asked me, should I watch this or the cartoon? I'd say obviously watch the cartoon. I think the cartoon is just like one of the best. It's easily in my top 10 favorite animated series of all time. But yeah, that's just my quick thoughts. Just want to put that out there for anyone who cared. And yeah, I will see y'all Thursday with my video essay, but talk to y'all later.